I paid for my husband's business degree while working 2 jobs. The day he graduated, his mother toasted to the woman who carried him, me. She looked me in the eye and said, "And I don't mean you." Everyone laughed. My husband kissed her on the cheek and said, "You know I'd always choose you first." I felt something break inside me that day. What I did with his diploma after that. My name is Amanda. I'm 34 now, but this started when I was 28, living in Richmond, Virginia. I'd just gotten out of a 4-year relationship that ended when I caught my ex cheating with a girl from his gym. I moved cities to get a fresh start, and that's when I met Tyler. He was 26, a college dropout working part-time at a music store and still figuring things out. He had charm, I'll give him that. Big smile, nice voice, talked a lot about goals and starting his own consulting firm. Said he just needed to get his business degree first. I had a full-time job as a logistics office assistant. I wasn't making big money, but it paid the bills. I also waitressed on weekends. I told him he could stay with me temporarily while he looked for work and got back into school. 1 month turned into 2. 2 turned into, "Hey babe, would you mind covering rent this month? I just applied to school." I should have walked away early. But I didn't. I ended up paying for the application fees, tuition deposits, his textbooks, everything. He promised he'd pay me back. He said once he graduated, he'd start his company, and I could quit all my jobs. I wanted to believe that. For the next 4 years, I worked 2 jobs. Office assistant during the week, bartender on the weekends. I kept the apartment running, paid rent, paid bills, even packed his lunches. Every time I got tired or frustrated, I told myself it was temporary. That someday it'd be worth it. I covered about 80% of his tuition. I even had to break my small savings account once when his car needed repairs. My name was on every loan and payment form because he didn't have credit. He said he didn't want his mother involved. Speaking of his mother, Helen, she hated me. She never liked me from the beginning. I don't know why. Maybe because I didn't come from money. Maybe because I wasn't Southern enough for her taste. Her way of talking down to people was subtle, but I always felt it. Tyler brushed it off. Said she was just that way. He always laughed when she made her snide little digs. Never once defended me. It got worse over time. I'd bring food to holidays, and she'd insult it. I'd offer to help with dishes, and she'd tell me to sit down like I was a guest, but with a voice that made it clear I didn't belong. She never asked about my job, or how I was holding up. She only ever asked how Tyler's classes were going. One time I heard her ask him, "How much longer are you going to let her work 2 jobs? It's not a good look." And he said, "She likes it." He knew damn well I was exhausted. But I stayed. I kept thinking, this is just the grind before success. He'll graduate, he'll remember everything I did for him, and we'll have a better life. He graduated last spring. May 2024. A friend of his threw a big party. We drove up to this rented banquet room in the Fan District. Everyone was dressed up. I wore a navy blue dress I'd had for years. Tyler didn't compliment it. He didn't even glance at me when we walked in. The moment we got inside, Helen pulled him away like I wasn't there. She hugged him, kissed both his cheeks, and said, "You did it, baby. I knew you would." He beamed like a little boy. I hung back and tried not to look like I was third-wheeling. There were maybe 50 people there, friends, classmates, family. Food, drinks, toasts. I smiled when I needed to, even though I felt invisible most of the time. Then came the moment that changed everything. Helen stood up to give a toast. She raised her glass and said, "To the woman who carried him through all of this." I felt a lump in my throat. She's finally going to acknowledge me, I thought. Finally. She looked right at me. Then she smiled and said, "And I don't mean you." Laughter. People laughed. Tyler laughed. Then he leaned over, kissed her cheek, and said, "You know I'd always choose you first." I didn't laugh. I didn't smile. I didn't say a word. I just stared at him. That moment didn't just hurt, it broke something in me. Something deep. Something I'd been holding together with duct tape for 4 years. It snapped. I didn't say anything at the party. I kept my mouth shut. I helped pack up his cords and gifts. I drove us home while he scrolled through pictures on his phone. I listened to him talk about job prospects and how he might apply to firms in DC. He said, "This is it. We made it. Now I can finally take care of you." I nodded. But I didn't believe him anymore. A week later, his diploma arrived. Thick envelope, university seal, gold lettering. I opened it before he got home. It was beautiful. And I hated everything it stood for. I made 2 high-quality copies. I bought frames for them, cheap but convincing. I put one in the envelope. Hung one on the wall. The real one? I hid it. Then I got to work. First, I pulled my credit report. Found out he'd opened a credit card in my name. $2,436 in charges. Mostly food delivery and video games. All from when I was working double shifts. I didn't confront him. I took my name off our joint bank account. Opened my own. Redirected my direct deposit. Changed my online banking passwords. Started selling old clothes and furniture under the radar. I also called his university and placed a restriction on reprints of his diploma, citing concerns about unauthorized requests. Since I was the financial guarantor, they flagged his record for investigation. Then I waited. He got an interview at a consulting firm in D.C. He was excited. Bought a new tie with my money. Told me to pack him a lunch, like always. He left the house at 6:30 a.m. At 6:45, I pulled out the real diploma, took it to the kitchen sink, poured lighter fluid on it, and lit it on fire. Watched the paper curl and blacken, gold lettering melting into ash. The fake one went into the folder. He called me at 4 p.m. that afternoon. They flagged my diploma, he said. Said it looks off. Oh? I said. How strange. They said it looks like a copy. Maybe it's the frame, I said. Could have smudged something. He was pissed. I played dumb. He spent the next week going back and forth with the school. They wouldn't reissue it. Told him it was under review. He didn't know what that meant. Meanwhile, I filed for divorce. I served him at his mother's house. She called me screaming. Asked what the hell I was doing. I said, I stopped being the one who carried him. Tyler didn't come home the night I served him divorce papers. I figured he went straight from his mother's to a bar or maybe back to his old college buddy's couch. I didn't care. That week, I stayed busy. I emptied the rest of my stuff from the apartment. I already had a small 1-bedroom lined up in Durham. Signed the lease. Paid the deposit in cash. Quiet, clean place near my new job. I left Tyler the bed, the couch, the TV. All the things he never lifted a finger to pay for. But I kept the kitchen table. That table had dents and scratches from every meal I ate standing up while he played Xbox. I wanted that reminder. When he finally called, it was 3 days later. You really burned it? He asked. I didn't answer. Amanda. Tell me the truth. Did you destroy my diploma? I destroyed the lie, I said. Click. He didn't call again for a while. But Helen did. That woman had no shame. She called me from a blocked number. You've ruined his life, she hissed. All because of a joke. A joke? I said. Is that what you call it? You were never right for him. He needs someone who believes in him. I believed in him more than anyone. That's the problem. Then she made a mistake. A big one. She said, Do you think you'll get anything in the divorce? There's nothing in his name. Nothing with value. It's all mine. I froze. What did you say? I asked. Everything. The business license, the car, the bank account, it's all under me. We planned this in case you ever tried to pull something. She hung up. And just like that, everything made sense. Tyler never planned to start a business with me. He and Helen set this up years ago. Everything he talked about building was already set up under her name. They used me to fund it. Then locked me out. They never thought I'd leave. They thought I'd be too tired, too loyal, too blind. They were wrong. I called a lawyer. Told him everything. Every payment. Every tuition deposit. I gave him receipts, screenshots, bank records. Showed proof that I paid for 80% of Tyler's education. And the credit card fraud? That gave us leverage. Even if everything was under Helen's name, Tyler had misrepresented his plans during the marriage. That's financial deception. In Virginia, that matters. My lawyer smiled when he saw the paper trail. Said, You've got a strong case. He also told me to hold on to that burned diploma story. Judges don't care much for drama, he said. But juries do. Meanwhile, Tyler was spiraling. He'd lost the DC job. Word had gotten out about the diploma. His name was flagged in one of the background check systems. That kind of red mark doesn't go away fast. I heard through mutuals that Helen had started pushing him to get a job at her friend's real estate office. But Tyler wasn't interested in selling houses. He still wanted to be a consultant. But he couldn't. No firm would touch him. He tried to apply for a replacement diploma again. The school had flagged his file indefinitely. He even tried to sue me for emotional distress. My lawyer laughed. That case got tossed in less than 2 weeks. Then something strange happened. I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten. No return address. It was from Tyler. I know I hurt you. I was stupid. I let my mom run my life. But I didn't mean to take advantage of you. I thought we'd get through it, and things would go back to normal. I still love you. Maybe we can meet and talk. I didn't answer. But I kept the letter. 2 weeks later, I got a call from a woman named Rachel. She said she used to date Tyler before me. Found me through an old college group online. He used me the same way, she said. Not with school, but with money. Borrowed thousands, promised a future. Then ghosted. We talked for 2 hours. She wasn't the only one. I posted anonymously in a local Richmond forum, asking if anyone had ever loaned money to a man named Tyler. I used his full name there. I got 5 responses. 2 of them had loan agreements. One woman said she'd co-signed a car that he totaled. Another said he took her rent money to buy Bitcoin. They all had the same story. He was charming, broke, full of dreams, and never paid anyone back. That's when I realized this wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was a pattern. This was who he was. And if he was going to play dirty, then so was I. Once I found the other women, something inside me clicked. This wasn't just a bad marriage. This was a long con. Tyler had done this before, and if someone didn't stop him, he'd keep doing it. He didn't just use people, he targeted them. Found women who worked hard, who had some savings, who believed in building something together. He sold a fantasy. He let them do all the work. Then he vanished, or worse, married them, drained them, and left. And Helen? She helped him. She was the anchor in every story. Always stepping in to protect him. Moving things into her name. Playing the victim when the women tried to speak up. Acting like a sweet southern mama when she was really just another part of the scam. I realized I had more than a divorce case. I had a damn pattern of fraud. I went back to my lawyer. Told him everything. Showed the messages. The emails. The stories from the other women. He referred me to another attorney, one who handled civil suits for financial misconduct. Get them all to sign affidavits, he said. You've got enough here for something big. So that's what I did. I gathered everything. Bank statements. Voicemails. Texts. Even that recording I had of Helen bragging about putting everything in her name. Just in case. She didn't know I'd recorded her. I'd installed an app months earlier just to protect myself from the emotional abuse. Never thought I'd use it in court. Meanwhile, Tyler kept trying to reach me. He sent another letter, then a voice message through a mutual friend. It said, "You don't have to do this. I know I messed up, but we were good once. I made a mistake. Don't let lawyers get in your head." The same man who kissed his mom on the cheek and told her he'd choose her over me had the nerve to ask for my mercy. That's when I made the next move. I contacted his old school. Told them everything. Sent them the affidavits. The documentation. The fraud complaint. They opened an investigation. Quietly, at first. But then they called me for more info. I gave them everything. I also contacted the company that originally flagged his diploma during his DC interview. Sent them the same packet. Marked it confidential. I didn't need credit. I just wanted truth. Within a month, Tyler's university issued a notice that he was under review for academic misconduct related to his financial disclosures. It wasn't public, but it was official. They froze his transcript and added a note on his file saying, "Pending investigation." And then came the twist I didn't expect. Rachel, the ex from before me, found out something bigger. She called me and said, "Amanda, I think Tyler married another woman. Before you." What? She emailed me the public record. A courthouse filing from 2016 in Roanoke. Tyler and a woman named Natalie. No divorce papers. No annulment. Just a marriage license. Still valid. I stared at the screen for a long time. I'd never known. He never told me. Tyler and I had gotten married in 2021. Which meant he was never legally divorced. Our marriage? Invalid. All this time, I thought I was divorcing him. But technically, I was just another one of his lies. I called my lawyer that night. He called it what it was, bigamy. Fraud. And with all the other women coming forward, we weren't just going after Tyler anymore. We were building a case against Helen too, for aiding, hiding, and possibly profiting off of multiple fraudulent relationships. This wasn't just a messy breakup anymore. This was about to become a criminal case. Tyler didn't know any of this yet. As far as he knew, I was still hiding behind lawyers, licking my wounds. But what he didn't know, I was getting stronger. And I wasn't alone anymore. Once I found out the marriage was never legal, something inside me shifted again. I felt this heavy shame lift off my back. I had spent years blaming myself for being so blind. For letting love turn into a job. For begging for scraps of respect from a man who never planned to give me any. But now I saw the truth. I wasn't a fool. I was prey. Tyler was a predator. And Helen was the bait. My lawyer moved fast. He filed a formal fraud complaint and submitted it to the Richmond District Attorney's office. The story was too big to ignore. 6 women, 2 of them with loan documents. 1 with proof of identity theft. Me, with a cooked-up marriage and a burned diploma. And Rachel, with the marriage license from 2016, still active. The DA opened an investigation. A detective called me for a statement. I met with her, told her everything. She was a hard, no-nonsense type, probably mid-40s. When I showed her Helen's voicemail, the one where she laughed and said everything was in her name. Just in case. The detective leaned back in her chair and said, "Well, that's gonna be a problem for her." At the same time, I filed a civil lawsuit against both Tyler and Helen. The charges: fraud, financial coercion, emotional abuse, and identity theft. Rachel and 2 of the other women joined me. We filed together. Class action style. We didn't ask for crazy money. Just enough to make them sweat. And a public record to stain them forever. The news spread fast. Richmond's a big city, but people talk. The local paper ran a small story online. Allegations of fraud and bigamy plague local graduate. It was just a blip. But it was enough. Tyler got fired from his temp job when they saw the article. Helen tried to deny everything. Claimed it was all lies from bitter women. But one of the banks froze her account after seeing the fraud investigation linked to her name. Turns out, co-signing on loans under false pretenses isn't cute when it crosses state lines. They were both officially under investigation. Then came the court date. They showed up in person. Tyler looked like hell, sunken eyes, wrinkled shirt, greasy hair. Helen still wore her pearls, like image alone could protect her. The judge asked Tyler why he hadn't disclosed the previous marriage when marrying me. He said, "I didn't remember." The courtroom laughed. The judge didn't. The judge ruled that our marriage was null and void due to existing legal marriage. That meant I owed him nothing. No spousal support. No shared debt. Nothing. He, however, owed me everything I paid for during our time together. Plus $5,000 in damages for the fraudulent credit card he opened. Helen was ordered to repay $12,000 to the other women who had proof she benefited from their financial support. Her accounts were temporarily frozen. The state also opened a criminal case for identity theft. That charge stuck. Tyler was arrested 3 months later after he missed a court date related to the fraud case. He tried to run. Changed addresses. Claimed he was living off the grid. Police found him hiding in a trailer park an hour outside of Roanoke. He spent 90 days in jail for contempt of court. Lost all credit standing. His university sent him a formal notice due to academic integrity issues and ongoing criminal activity. His degree status was being reviewed for revocation. Last I heard, he was working part-time as a valet. He doesn't have a license anymore. Or a consulting business. Or even a clean record. Helen? She had to sell her house to pay the court orders. Moved into a small condo in Petersburg. Still acts like none of it was her fault. But people know. Her name doesn't get invited into any country club circles anymore. Word gets around. And me? I'm not proud of everything I did. Burning the diploma was emotional. But sometimes the truth only comes out through fire. I was angry. Hurt. But I didn't stop at revenge. I rebuilt. I live in Durham now. Got a solid job in a freight company. Bought myself a little townhome. Quiet. Clean. Mine. I've been dating someone new. Slowly. Carefully. He knows what happened. He asked once, "Do you regret it?" I said, "I regret waiting so long to save myself." But you know what feels better than revenge? When a judge, a lawyer, and a room full of people look at your abuser and say, "We believe her." When someone who thought he could use women forever finally runs out of road. And when the mother who raised a monster is forced to clean up the mess she helped create. And that fake diploma? I kept one. Not to frame it. But to remind myself, never again will I carry someone who won't walk for me. Never again will I build someone else's dreams while mine sit in the dark. And never again will I let love blind me from seeing the truth right in front of me. Even if it's smiling, wearing a suit, and calling me babe.